All right, welcome to Gage Boy's garage video today. Today we're working on putting a hydraulics assist steering into Cherry the Jeep. We're trying to prep for heading to Moab in a couple of weeks. So I'll just give you a quick rundown. First, you can see we've got the steering gear pulled out without unhooking it from the truck though. We didn't have to unhook the lines or the steering shaft. We just took the 3 bolts out. We've dropped it down, and we've changed the end with this special fitting with the hydraulic hose attached here now.
Yep, it just replaces...
Zeph will talk through kind of what we got going on there.
Yeah, so it just replaces the factory end cap. So you pull out the little clip in there and turn your wheel all the way one way, and this will pop out. You pop in the new one, and it's got a threaded fitting, and that's how you get your hydraulic line pressure for the
let's show everyone the trick to popping that ring out of the end of the gear with the pick.
So these boxes have a little access hole on the top here.
See the hole there?
To put your pick in, and you just hit that with a hammer and grab it with a flathead, and it'll come right out.
It seriously makes popping that giant snap ring into about a 10-second job.
Yeah,
huge win. Have a drip pan though ready, because you're going to get all the power steering fluid out of the whole system real fast.
Yeah.
All right, so then the next thing we've been up to is taking the primary gear. So that's actually the shaft that the pitman arm hooks onto. It comes out with this other cap. So we're going to go over to the bench. We'll talk about that here real quick.
So right here on the inside, you can see there's this little dish, and you're about right in the middle of that you want to, step it up a couple times, and then final drill is a, one sec.
It's in the chuck.
Yeah, it's in the drill still. It's a 37/64, and then you get yourself a 3/8 MPT tap.
So here's the tap we were using.
It'd probably be better if you had a step drill or a step tap, but that's all right.
Okay, so with this pulled down and the hole threaded here, this is where the other hydraulic line is going to go. So now we've got the hydraulic line in the end of the gear and the hydraulic line in the top of the gear.
And that gives you a right to left.
And so then here is the actual cylinder that's going to go in place of the steering stabilizer. What we found, we've been messing with this, which is why we decided we were going to make a video. We started to try to find the fittings to get this cylinder together, and we realized that first of all of our hoses and other fittings are 3/8 MIP or NPT if you want to go that. And we get this cylinder tore down, and it's got these plugs in it. We pull the plugs out. We run to the store because we think they're 1/4 inch. We buy 3/8 to 1/4 brass fittings. We're going to thread them in, and they don't fit. So, faced with the choice of running out to the store again in the pandemic world we live in, or simply taking that same drill bit we used on the top here, and we clearanced out these holes so we can thread them. Now what we did is we took a tiny piece of shop rag, the red rags. I cut a corner of it off, and we shoved it in the hole here. We preloaded a little power steering fluid into this hole. We put that rag down in there tight. That way we could drill this hole on the drill press. And then we just moved the cylinder and blew all the rag and anything that was in here out. That way we don't end up wrecking our seals inside the brand new cylinder. So next up here, we're just going to take the tap and we're going to run her in here. And the nice thing about all of this is now that we're done with this, our hydraulic lines are going to screw right in to the top of the cylinder with no extra fittings or anything. We're reducing the possibility of any break points on brass fittings or anything like that.
Break points or leaks or anything.
Right.
It'll be way simpler.
So we're going to take a break. We're going to tap this out, and then we'll get back to the video here when we're ready to start. We're going to reinstall this, and we'll start fitting the ram in. We'll see you guys in a minute.
So we got this tapped out here with our 3/4 or 3/8 MPT tap. we again stuck some rags in there so that the chips don't get into the cylinder. Then we blew it back out. We took our time, so we'd go, a few turns, then pull the tap back out, clean it out, because you don't want it to get bound up, because you can break these taps, and if you break it in there, you're in trouble.
You want to talk about the tap?
Yeah, so also I do not prefer this type of tap because for big jobs, because see how it's got every tooth? You can get these taps called a step tooth tap, and it has a tooth every other. So in the end, you'll have the same result, but they're way easier to spin because they don't bind up as easily. So that reduces your chance of breaking the tap, basically.
You want to talk through not having a T-handle for a tap that size?
Yeah, so obviously it's a pretty big square on the end. So we just used a 5/8 socket and a 3/8 handle. But this makes it a lot harder to get the tap perfectly straight when you're running it down. And if you get it on an angle at all, it makes it tap super hard, and again, will make you break your tap. So just be very cautious of getting it as straight as you can.
Okay. All right, so next up, we're going to pull the steering stabilizer. We're going to reinstall our cap, and we'll be back online to show you how we kind of finish this all together. All right, see you guys in a little bit. How's it going?
Horrible. Yeah.
That steering stabilizer is coming right off?
No. Some idiot tightened it to like 6,000 foot-pounds.
That was probably me.
One of us.
So if you can't hear it, the loud compressor's in the background because we're going to have to use that to break this bolt free. But in the meantime, what I did is I took one of these giant syringes and kept filling it with power steering fluid, and I was able to fill this cylinder so that we were able to purge all the air out of that cylinder. That way when we get it on the truck, we don't have as much work to do trying to get the air out of the system. Alright, we're back. We got this thing on the truck, and we're just bleeding some air out of it. But you can see here, I'm going to show you. Zeph's got the truck running. We're just turning the wheel, trying to get some air out. And watch. We'll go full turn. And when he comes back, the cylinder's going to come back in. And again, there's a lot of air in here, but we're working it out. See, the box is back in place. And we're on our way here. This is looking like it's going to work pretty good. We probably got 15 minutes more of bleeding, and we'll put the truck together and we'll bleed it under pressure, and then it'll be time for a test drive. So I'll see you in a minute.